Okay, this is session part three, and we're going to continue in our engineering test job. Now, in the previous session, we entered doors or openings 101, 103, and 105. And I got 103 showing up here, and one thing that I failed to do was put in an undercut. So let me go in and create an undercut for 103. Let's look at 101, and that doesn't have an undercut, and I'm just using the arrow key to arrow down, and I'll dupe it. So 101 has the undercut, 103 has the undercut, and 105 has the undercut. Okay, let me go back to 101. 101 is the entry door. Let's say this is a small hotel, and it's a two-panel entry door for 101. And then 103 and 105 are the interior doors. And let's say we have um, it's a small hotel and there's numerous rooms the same way. So we created the entry door and we created the two interior doors. All right, so we want to copy that. Let's say that this is a little motel that has five rooms in it, and we want to duplicate what we've done. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to F5, and you notice the arrow here on the lower right hand corner. F5 is the global screen. So we're going to globally copy um, these doors, and we're going to do them one at a time. It doesn't take a long time to do, but there's a few steps you have to do. So we're going to create, and we're going to use the letter A for add, and copy from what? Well, we're going to copy it from 101. And we're going to call this the new opening 201, 301, 401, and 501. So we've created five rooms identical, the entry door identical to 101. So I'm going to hit the enter key, and this is a two-step process. I hit the enter key and the cursor jumped from the position that it was in to the top there, and it gives me the opportunity to review it and make any changes that I need to make just in case I made a mistake. And now I want to process those or create those openings. And F20 is to process. And F20 is basically, if you look on your keyboard, it only goes from F1 to F12. So to go to F13 and above is you hold down the shift key and you hit the appropriate F key. So F20 is really shift F8. And so when I hold down the shift key and hit the F8 key, you'll notice that the openings disappeared. That means that that's done. So F1 to go back, F10 to display the openings. And you'll see in the display that there is 201, 301, 401, 501. So let's go into 201, and the opening is there identical to 101. So I hit the enter key to bring me back. Now I want to look at the engineering in that door, and it should be engineered because it was made to copy exactly what was done in 101. So there it is. It's engineered. And one of the ways I can tell it's engineered is that in this quantity field on the extreme right says there are 6 doors that have this engineering information in them. And those 6 doors are tied in because they're all hardware set 01. Now I use hardware set 01, but in real terms, what I like to do is create some generic codes. And I'll go through a hardware schedule, and let's say we are going to engineer a small job, 10, 12 openings. Um, rather than use codes that they use, what I do is I go to the hardware schedule and code it, and I'll say for every hinge that is a 4.5 or 4.5 regular weight hinge, I'll give it code A, and for the lock, I'll give it. I use alphabetically from A to Z. So I'll say, or you can use H for hinge, and CL for cylindrical lock, and M or ML for mortise lock. So your hardware set can be HC, and wherever you have doors that have machining of HC, then when in the hardware set field, you would just call it HC. So you go to the hardware schedule and code them out, they're all HC. So when you go in and create these openings on the engineering side, you would give them a hardware set of all HC, and then all the hardware would be the same. So that's another shortcut you can do. So we went into that, and if we looked at the 301 and do an F12, we can see that that's engineered also. So it's a simple way to do it. Now 103 is oh, it's also a 20-minute door. Okay, let's go to 105. 105 is an interior door. And so let's go to F5 to create some additional doors, the same as 105. And let's call it 205, 305, 405, and 505. Hit the enter key and shift F8, F1 to return, and F10, and there they are. F1 again, and I'll put in 505 and do an F12, and they're already engineered. And the last thing I want to do is put 103, F5 to go to the global. I'm going to create openings similar to 103. I'll call it 203, 303, 403, and 503. I hit the enter key, shift F8. I hope I'm not going too fast. F1. I'll do an F10, and you see they exist now, and they're already engineered. So that's quick and easy. It's done very, very fast. You can take a small job, these hotel jobs, and you can just global them in very quickly, and that's pretty much done. So this ends this session.